Hello, YouTubers. This is Mahadeva, OG Thunder Wizard. Today we are going to talk about the southeast direction. So I'm going to be reading from the book Thunder Shamanism by me, Michael William Denny. And we are going to be in the chapter talking about the southeast direction. So the last time that I read from this book, I took you through a couple of guided shamanic journeys, and I went to the eastern direction, and it was so powerful for me I had to stop. And so I've been doing other things because I don't want to come back and do another journey until I'm ready for it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we'll talk a little bit about the southeast direction. Before we do, let us refresh ourselves on what it is we're talking about. So this is from the book Thunder Shamanism, my book. You can go on to Amazon, just type in Thunder Shamanism, look for my name. You can go to courses.thunderwizard.com. Also, everything that we're talking about here can be found on the thunderwizard.com Patreon subscription site, which, by the way, I keep forgetting to tell you, you can now subscribe for a year. When you do, you get 2 months off right off the bat. So go check that out. But in that lowest level, just at the lowest level, we talk about the 8 directions in the 9 worlds. I mean, I don't even know. I can't even tell you how many hours of videos I talk about that. So let us bring up our thunder wheel so that you know what I'm talking about here. Let's see, which one is this? This will work. So this is an Aish Yalmer symbol, which I've used to designate the thunder wheel, which is my word for what many people would call the medicine wheel. So the medicine wheel, you've heard a lot about that. That is actually something that is found in multiple traditions. And this here is just representing the ancient Norse understanding of the world tree and the 9 directions. It happens to correspond exactly with other traditions that are completely unrelated. The Taoist tradition in China, the indigenous shamanic religion of China, the Vedic East Indian direction wheel, they call it. And of course, here in the Norse, they have the same understanding. So each one of these directions, starting in the north, we have Mist Home, Asgard in the northeast, Giant Home in the east, Dwarf Home in the southeast, which we'll be talking about today. Very important, powerful realm. The southern Fire Home, the southwestern Hell Home, or the home of the underworld. In the west, we have the home of the Vanir, who are the gods of wind. And then we have in the northwest the Elf Home, the Ascended Masters. And then in the center is where we are, which is called Middle Yard, or the Middle Fortress, or Middle Earth. Those all work. And so from here we can receive energy and influence from each of the other 8 worlds. And my ancestors called them the 9 worlds of the world tree. That was their symbolism that they used. The Taoists call them the 8 gates, and they have the same properties in each of the directions. For instance, in the northwest, what I'm calling the Elf Home, the home of the Ascended Masters, they have the home or the direction of helpful advice. They're obviously not coming from the same tradition, let's do this. They're some guy from China didn't go over to Scandinavia and, share information. These are people coming to the same conclusion simply through the science of shamanic journeying, which is what we're going to do today. So this is not up for debate. This is an energetic, spiritual, scientific tool that we have here. So we're going to be going into the southeast, which is the realm of the dwarves. So let's talk a little bit about the southeast. In the southeast direction, the Taoists have a wonderful name for it. They call it the human door, or the human gate. So if you've read the mythology, then dwarves are humanoid beings made of pure energy that were fashioned by the celestial gods. So the celestial gods, when the universe was coming into manifestation, they took this ambient life force energy literally from the life force energy of the universe, and they created humanoid. They didn't create human, created humanoid. And so this was in existence before humans ever existed. And so when you look at the names of dwarves in the mythology, the names of the dwarves will translate to human emotional or psychological constructs. So it means that this is the construct from which we create our lower self. We have three selves: Odin, Vili, and Ve. Vili, I'm touching my navel center. So the dwarf home is going to be located in the human body, in the navel center, where our human psychological constructs, bear in mind, all the things that you think about being human are not part of your eternal essence. Your soul does not have psychological issues. Your soul does not have yearning and desires. Your soul is infinite and full of bliss. It comes into manifestation in human form in order to have a human experience. It wants to experience limitation, desire, like a video game. Video games aren't fun unless there's danger that things could go wrong. You could lose your guy. So human life has dangers. There are stakes involved, and you can make mistakes, and you can learn, and you can grow. This all, in order for this to be fun for the soul, it has to interface with a humanoid mindset. Emotions, instincts, psychological constructs, these are all found in the dwarf home. Now, it is through the power of emotion, because dwarves are emotional creatures. They are beings made of the energy of emotions. Without emotions, we wouldn't intend or create anything. So again, in order for the soul to need to create something, there has to be a need, a desire, emotional energy. So it fuses itself with the lower self, with its dwarf nature. So in the Norse mythology, the dwarves are not little tiny, fat, muscular Scottish guys with red beards and axes and hammers. That's not what dwarves are or ever were. In fact, in Norse mythology, you have Sigurd and Fafnir, who are said to be brothers, and they both look like humans. One is a dwarf, one is a full human. So remember the word man, M-A-N-N. This is the Germanic word for human. And originally, man meant both male and female humans. And man means mind, or moon. So man means mind, it's the same word, or moon. These are all interchangeable words. When you talk to another person, you called them a man, whether man or woman. When you looked up at that white shiny thing that shines at night, you called that man. When you talked about the part of your mind, not your intellect, but your mind that reflects and connects emotionally, that is your man. These are all the same word. So this is the realm of man. And in fact, the rune that is associated with the southeast, let's take a look at that for a second. The rune associated with the southeast is, you guessed it, Manaj. So if you look there at the very last rune in the 3/8 down in the southeast, you have the rune Manaj. So, there's no coincidence that when these things line up. This is the realm of the intention. So you have the lower self, which contains the subconscious and the unconscious. Southeast is the realm of the subconscious mind. It is your subconscious mind that creates an intention that projects out through your third eye. You project it out through your third eye but there has to be an emotion connected to it. So in many traditions, when you want to create something, you have to build up the emotion. This is what what do you call it? The law of, what the hell is it? The law of attraction. This is what the law of attraction is trying to get at. And you know how I feel about the law of attraction is at best limited and incomplete, and in some cases outright, destructive and, taking you down a wrong path. But the one aspect is accurate, is that you have a lot of emotion attached to an intention. You can create with that emotional intention. If you want to create according to your orlog, your dharma, your destiny, then you have to first figure out what it is that you want, what your soul wants. And when you can tap into the joy that comes from what your soul wants, and you align that with your emotions and your subconscious mind, it is guaranteed you will intend and create what you manifest. You can manifest negativity. That's something that the universe does. Again, these are all things I talk about in the Matrix videos, and for that, go to the lockdown.thunderwizard.com, and you'll see that there's some teachings that I share about in terms of the Matrix, how to program the Matrix to create your world. I'm not going to talk about that here today. All right, so let's go ahead and just do some reading, and while I'm doing that, you can take a look at the. Let's see, where are we? You can take a look at the 9 worlds while I read a little bit. And so we'll be reading from the book Thunder Shamanism. Where did it go? Where did it go? Is that it? All right, sorry, I'm confusing myself here. Crap. No, that's not what I want. It's because I'm opening the wrong program. That's the problem. It is right there, and it's ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from, I think, page 73 in my version. Yours might be different if you're reading along with me from the book, which of course you can go up to courses.thunderwizard.com, and you can find all my books, or you can look for it on Amazon. So give me a second while I scroll down to the southeast. Did I say northeast? Southeast. All right, let me get myself completely situated here. All right, here we go. Southeast, the realm of magic and intention. So if you remember, I taught you how to do shamanic breath technique. So I'm not going to be guiding you at this moment. We're just going to read the short chapter that I wrote about the southeast direction. I'm going to go back and teach you the special breath technique, and then I'm going to lead you into a shamanic journey. In fact, I'm just going to take a journey. I'm going to narrate to you what I see and what happens, and you can come along with me, and we'll see what happens. So let's go and take a look at the breath for a second. So the shamanic breath technique that I shared with you is what did I call it? The 3-5-5-1 breath. Is that what it is? 5-5-3-5-1. So what you do is you get yourself in a comfortable shamanic posture, whether that's full lotus or whether that's lying flat on the ground, or whether that's, what I'm going to be doing is sitting comfortably in a chair with my back straight, and you make sure that your neck is slightly tilted forward. So it's as if, unless you're lying flat, if you're sitting up, what you want to do is imagine looking down with your eyes, a few feet in front of your toes. And so that'll make your head kind of go here, which straightens the back of the neck. The last thing you want is to be like this, because that's bad. That gets the energy stuck in the back of the neck, and it's not a good thing. All right, so once you get into your posture, then we're going to do the the 5-3-5-1 breath, which is when you inhale through the nose for a count of 5. You hold the breath for a count of 3. Then you exhale for a count of 5. And when all the air is out, you hold the air out for a count of 1. That's one breath, and then you do that again. I prefer to do it, at least 5 times, but if you want to set a timer, you can do that. But 5 times of those will put you, trust me, what it does is it's actually just that meditation in and of itself. You say, I don't know how to meditate, do that. Do that for, start with 3 minutes and then go up to 7 minutes and then 9 minutes and then, a half an hour. If you do that breath every day for 11 minutes, just 11 minutes every day, start slowly. But if you do that breath for 11 minutes every day, it'll completely shift your brain chemistry. The truth is that most of us, especially in the Western world, are constantly in a state of trauma. You're constantly at war. I mean, I know people, and I'm sure you do too, they never have enough time. They can never relax. They have something going on all the time. And so they don't really sleep. What ends up happening is that they just pass out. At 10 o'clock at night or something, they just pass out. And then they wake up 4 or 5 or 6 hours later, and then from the moment they get up, the alarm wakes you up, and you get up, and then you run into the shower, and you drink a bunch of coffee, and you get on the freeway, and you honk your horn, and you get to work, and you blah, 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 and then you got to go home, and you take care of the kids, and then you blah, blah, and then 10 o'clock. That's not living. That is being in a state of trauma. And some people can't even tolerate sitting down and having nothing to do. Some people can't tolerate that. Even people who are, quote, lazy, they spend all their time playing video games. It's the same thing. You're distracting yourself just from being with yourself. So this breath, what it'll do is it will reset the brain. It resets the brain, allows the 2 hemispheres to communicate, and allows the body to actually go into a state of true relaxation. Another thing I found with people is that they say that they have too much energy because they can't sleep. Well, interesting thing is that in order to sleep, you need energy. It takes more muscles to close the eyes than it does to open them. So what will happen with a lot of people when they do this kind of work is that they'll just immediately fall asleep. That means that they're lacking energy. They're really short on energy. And the body finally has now allowed itself to take energy in from the universe, and boom, out you go. So it's okay if you fall asleep doing this. It means that you really don't have any time that you give yourself to be relaxed and connected. Because when you get into this state, you automatically connect to the universe. You connect to the energy of the universe. All right? So we're going to be using that breath. And again, what you're going to do is you're going to inhale for the count of 5, hold the breath for a count of 3, exhale for a count of 5 out the nose, hold the breath out for a count of 1, and then begin again. So we're going to do that before we do anything else. But before we do the reading, or the journey, before we do the journey, I'm going to read to you the small chapter I have about the realm of the Southeast, the realm of magic and intention. So here I go reading from the book. Begin your shamanic breathing and continue for at least 3 minutes. When you feel yourself enter a shamanic state of mind, you can begin your journey. You can imagine yourself entering a cave cut into the side of a mountain. This is the realm of the masters of the subconscious, the masters of intention. You can also ask for a guide to meet you and take you into the world of the dwarves. To summon your guide, simply state either aloud or in your mind that you wish to travel to the realm of intention. Ask that a benevolent guide from the southeastern world come to you and guide you. Then wait for any image to come to your mind. You need not impose any experience, but if you begin to find yourself imagining a journey to the world of magic, you may ask your guide any questions. The subconscious is a tricky realm. The residents there may try to trick you. So it may be best to allow your guide to act as a mediator with the residents of the southeast. Sorry, I wrote southwest. Follow his or her guidance and only interact with dwarves that he/she deems safe. When you have finished your journey, return to your chair in this reality. Immediately write down anything that was said to you by any beings you encountered or experiences you had while in this realm. Whether or not it makes sense to you, there is very likely some important information contained in your dialogue with otherworldly inhabitants. So let me talk about that for a second, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do the journey. So when you get a message in a journey, it may not make any sense. You may be given something. So somebody may hand you some gift or some, who knows what, a crystal or something, I don't know. Might hand you something, and you may not understand what the meaning of it is. That's all right. Whatever is given to you, whatever is said to you, when you come out of the meditation, the journey, you need to write it down. And write it down word for word if you can remember it, even if it doesn't make any sense to you now. Here's the thing. Shamanic journeying is not just for personal entertainment. You will never be given information that is only relevant for today or tomorrow. Any information that you give is going to be infinite in its time scope, meaning it's going to reach back into your past and affect you in the past, and it's also going to be moving forward in the future. Sometimes you won't get the full impact of it for years. So one day you'll be walking and you'll just feel the impact of the message that was given to you. Your job in the meantime is to meditate on the meaning. Meditation doesn't mean understanding. The intellect may not have any understanding of what's going on. Meditation comes from a different place, from the mind, which is where we're going, by the way. We're going to the realm of the mind, the emotional mind. All right, so I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm going to be, experiencing this along with you, because, this is what happens when I journey. I'm just going to go through a journey, and I'm just going to narrate to you, what's happening, and, I may give you guidance on what to do and what to look for and that kind of thing. Okay, so we're just going to do this together. And sometimes it's okay if a journey doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I don't have any expectations whether this does or doesn't work today either. Sometimes, you call up on the phone and all you get is a busy signal. We'll see what's going to happen. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our breath technique. So get yourself in your shamanic posture, whether that's in full lotus or sitting comfortably in a chair or lying down. Make sure that if you need to, close the shades, close the door, make sure it's nice and quiet where you are. And we're going to do the 5-1-1 breath. So I'm going to inhale through the nose to the count of 5. Ready? Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. 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 And relax. Now just begin breathing long and deep from the navel center. In and out through the nose. Allow yourself just to feel perhaps the tingling sensation. Maybe you feel a little dizzy. Hopefully you feel relaxed. And just feel the warmth of your body sinking into the chair or sinking into the floor. Allow yourself to continue to sink down beneath the earth's crust, down through the earth, and you find yourself at the mouth of a cave. And you can see dancing on the walls of the cave, you can see glowing firelight. This is the entrance to the subconscious mind, the home of the dwarves. You can hear banging and clanking of hammers and anvils. This is where your world is created. And now just ask for a benevolent dwarf guide to come to the edge of the cave to guide you on your journey. For me, I am seeing the typical dwarf creature that you see in books and movies. Short, stocky, thick red hair, boots, thick leather boots, very muscular, and he is carrying a torch. For a moment I thought he was carrying a hammer, but I'm seeing that he's carrying a torch. He looks at me with piercing eyes as if he's testing me. He's wanting to know how sincere my intentions are. As he says, coming into this realm without clear intentions can be dangerous. You can be easily deceived by your own illusions. So he's looking directly into my eyes and testing to see, and he's asking me. He says that you haven't thought through what your intention is. So I have to sit for a moment and find out what it is I really want to learn here. So give me a second. Okay, so I've come up with my intention. I've verbalized it to him. You do the same. Verbalize to your guide exactly what your intention is. Make sure that there's desire associated with it. He says, here we create from desire. So connect to something that you desire very deeply. This is not an intellectual exercise, he says. All right, now he's invited me in, and he's turned around and he is walking into the cave. And he stands, and he can go either right or left, and he decides to go left. And I follow him, and I'm right now just walking through a roughly hewn cave. I can still hear the clanging and banging of hammers and anvils. And I can hear rumblings, things I can't, it just sounds really intense. It's very powerful down there. And everything seems to be lit by firelight. And he takes me to another passage, and he turns left again. And it opens up into a huge room, and I am filled with a lot of, the impact of the emotion just hits me. It's really amazing. And in here, it's like I'm looking into this amazing Garden of Eden. And he points down into, strangely enough, this forest clearing. It's like this beautiful world. There's green trees everywhere and grass, and there's beautiful, like crystal clear pools of water and streams, and it's just like this beautiful little Eden type thing. And he's pointing down to a clearing, in this forest. And so I walk down, I begin walking down, and he's not coming with me. He says, this is all you. This is your place where you intend from your deepest desires that you want for yourself. And so he stands up there, and I look behind me, and he's still standing there with the torch, and he's going to wait there for me until I'm done. But whatever's going to happen has nothing to do with him. And so I walk down the side of what is like the side of the cave, and I come to the bottom, and there's a beautiful river there. It's really crystal clear, almost silvery clear, and I feel the urge to drink from it. And again, I am overwhelmed with emotion as I do it. I could burst into tears if I let myself. So I scoop in the water and I drink it, and it's cold and crisp and clear and absolutely refreshing, and I feel it go through every cell of my body, and I feel this relaxation, and it's like this layer of gunk comes off of my body, and it's as if the armor that I've been carrying, falls, and I'm able to tap into my, what I experience as my vulnerability, my desires, and I transform, and I'm a little kid. I'm no longer an adult, I'm a little kid. And I'm remembering how happy and carefree and joyous I was as a little kid. Loving and sweet and kind, full of optimism, innocence, belief in the spirit world, remembering how connected I was to magic and intention and beauty and all of those things. And so I wade across the river, which feels good, and I'm having fun, so I stop and I play in the water, and I dive down to the bottom, and there's this opalescent round stone, and I like it, so I grab it and I swim back up to the surface, and I look at it, and it looks like this, it's got little flecks of shiny opalescence in it, and I decide I'm going to keep it. So then I have, at this moment, I feel like I can decide to go back, cross the river, and I'll become an adult again, and I can leave. And I feel a strong pull to do that. And I can't decide if I want to go into the clearing or not. I'm going to go ahead and decide to go in the clearing. But I realize that any time that I want to come back just to tap into my childhood essence and the innocence and the purity of all that, all I have to do is just come back to this little river and just dive into it. I don't have to do anything more than that, just to connect to my hopeful childhood self. So, sort of against my better judgment, I decide I'm going to go cross the river, and I feel some trepidation as I do that, because I feel like there might be some test for me if I do that. And so I decide to swim to the other side, and I get on the other side, and I'm no longer a child anymore. And I have transformed into some, extremely powerful, for me, I don't know what it will be for you, but for me, I transform into this extremely powerful, almost like Neanderthal type being, just very powerful and muscular, and I go into a whole other mindset. And I look down, my feet are enormous, my legs are enormous. I don't know what it's going to be like for you, but I get the feeling that this is some sort of power, some kind of a power, not a power animal, but a power being that I have available for me. Yours may be different. I'm still holding the little opalescent stone in my right hand. And I walk into the center of the clearing, and the trees are like scraggly oak trees. And it's very green. And I walk into the center, and there is a standing stone. Very ancient, and it's roughly hewn. It's not, it's not, it's not very sophisticated. It was just roughly hewn, and it's been there for a really long time. And I feel I'm supposed to put the stone on, the little opalescent stone on the standing stone, so I do. And then I transform into myself, and I'm overwhelmed with emotion, and I drop to my knees. And I am asking for help. I'm becoming aware that I've been carrying a lot. I've been carrying a lot of war wounds. And so I seek to drop those and release those. For me, this stone just represents my happiness, my joy. And the lesson for me here today is that that is what's most important. It's not the money, it's not the reputation, it's not success. It's just pure happiness. And so since that's what's coming to my mind, that's what I'm going to intend for myself. And when I begin even just saying those words, that stone lights up with an energy. It comes alive, and then that energy comes up through that stone into the little opalescent stone that I put on top of there, and that stone shines a beam of light up into the sky, which then seems to go all the way around. It hits the atmosphere and seems to go all the way around the earth. At least that's how I imagine it at this point. And the idea is that my intention is now being transmitted into the atmosphere to be created. And so what is going to happen now is that details that I may not be consciously aware of or even consciously capable of seeing, the level of joy and success may be beyond my ability to comprehend at this point. But that intention, that energy, which is coming from my soul, which is beyond my limited mind, is going to create that. And my job is just to simply surrender to that and let it be created. And the feeling I get, I'm seeing now a small being of light, just a tiny being of light. And the feeling I'm getting is that you have to be willing to surrender to the joy you can't comprehend. Don't limit it. And so this can be a frightening thing, to allow yourself to expand beyond what you think you want into what it is that your soul wants. And it will be challenging, and you will have to release old fears and work through old pain and sadness and disappointment. You have to let that go, because those things are limiting what you can manifest. So with that, I feel kind of overwhelmed at this point, and the being of light touches me on the third eye and then says that I can leave now and to just simply go and rest and reconnect. And gives me the opalescent stone after touching it and empowering it, hands it back to me, and I take it and I walk back down to the edge of the river, and I swim across, and I just let that the water there empower me. I drink from it again, and I get up and I turn around at the opposite end, and I kneel down and I thank that essence, that being that I don't have a name for, and I thank myself for the journey, and I thank my soul for creating this place of power. And I turn around and I look back up to the entrance that I came down off of, and it's like it's inside of, there's like a cave inside of the cave, and I have to climb back up to get to the stone wall where the dwarf guide is standing, and he's got a big smile on his face, which is not, normal for him. And so he waits for me, and I climb back up to the top, and I turn around and I look down, and that place that was there now folds in on itself and disappears. And I look at the dwarf, and he looks at me knowingly. Still has a smile on his face, and he says, "Let's go." And this time we walk together. We turn around and we turn to the right, and we walk back the way we came. And then we turn right again, make our way back to the entrance of the cave, and he stands there at the entrance of the cave and shakes my hand, and I walk out into the sunlight, and the cave closes itself, just closes up. The entrance is gone now. And I look down in my hand, and I see this little opalescent stone that I've got, and I place it in my heart, and it merges into my heart, and I breathe, and I let that essence flow through all of my body. So spend some time with yourself right now. Just continue to breathe. Now bring yourself back to normal consciousness. You can start, massaging your body. Massage your face, your scalp. Bring yourself back to normal consciousness. Again, extremely powerful for me. I mean, I'm barely holding myself together here. And quite embarrassing to be this vulnerable in front of all these people that I don't know. All right, so if you need to, if you're watching this after it's been archived, you can go ahead and pause and go write down whatever you saw, whatever was told to you, whatever messages you got, and come back, and if there's any questions, I'll go ahead and take any questions. Let's just take a moment to breathe and come back into your body. Yeah, I probably won't be taking a bunch of time to talk because I'm gonna have to go recover from this. This is very intense, and it's pretty amazing to me that I have such an intense experience when it could be because I'm doing it with you guys. Maybe the combination of all of our focuses maybe making the experience more intense for me. All right, I don't see any questions here, so if you do have a question, you can go ahead and write the word question if you want, and I'll answer it. If not, we'll just call it a day. So what I'm going to do now, I'll wake us up a little bit. Once again, the way to support this channel, go to thunderwizard.com. And if you want more of information on how to do deep shamanic work, ritual, energy work, rune work, the 9 worlds, all that stuff in really deep detail, go and you can subscribe at the lowest level. If you want to really gain power when it comes to intending your reality, you can subscribe at the Manifestation Mastery course, and I'm going to start putting more videos for the union of masculine and feminine, so go there. If you haven't already, subscribe. So mouse over the little icon here and subscribe and hit the bell button. And yeah, let's see. So let's see if any question comes up. Rohan Kapoor, question: are Hindu Vedas and Norse Eddas similar? Yes and no. They are clearly two different traditions, but they come from an original tradition that goes to the ancestors of both the Vedic and the Norse people. So to get a scope of how ancient our traditions are, the truth is the Indo-European are among the very first humans that ever left Africa. And, the founding of, not that there was a founding, but the settlement of Europe, settled by Indo-European people, actually predates, there was no such thing as Native Americans. They hadn't evolved yet, So we're among the first people that ever got there. And what happened, you won't hear this in a lot of scientific journals because they're still going off of old, outdated, disproven science. If you want to understand how old this tradition is, both the Vedic and the Norse, you can go research the Paleolithic continuity paradigm. Go look that up. Our language is older than we can possibly imagine. And so the gods and the mythology that we have comes from those first modern humans that crossed over into the Northern Hemisphere. And what happened is they got there and they spake a language which we no longer have, which we would call now Proto-Indo-European. And what they did is they went off into all directions. They, some of them went all the way up into northwestern Europe. Some of them went up into, eventually after the ice ages, eventually went up into, Russia, and others went down into the Spanish peninsula, and others went all the way over into Greece and up into, and eventually down into India. And this was over tens of thousands of years and through 40,000 years of ice ages. So the different languages, the Germanic languages, Sanskrit, Slavic languages, Celtic languages, and some languages that are no longer existent. There's a few that are still, a couple Indo-European languages in the Middle East, but those all came about over tens of thousands of years. But when you go back to the root of it, it's the same language. For instance, like just one word in English, the word in English, door, right? We know what a door is. In Sanskrit, it's dwara. Same language. Dwara, door, same thing. That's 50,000 years of separation. Same language, same religion. So when you look at the mythology of, say, the creation of the universe, you're going to get very different myths unless you look at some of the symbols. One of them is in the Norse tradition, you have the wealth cow, Auðumbla. Auðumbla is the cow of abundance that existed, from which the gods that came out of the ice suckled on. They suckled on this cow. And in the Vedic tradition, you have the same thing. You have a wealth cow. So we're talking about the same thing. In the Vedic tradition, you have Yama, who is the first being to sacrifice himself, and therefore he becomes the god of death. So he doesn't mean death like in the way, he means death, mastering death. His name means twin. So Yama. Yama is the Vedic god of death who sacrificed himself for the world. And this is the Proto-Indo-European word is Yemosh. And in the Norse, he's called Ymir. And Ymir is the giant from which he doesn't sacrifice himself, he is sacrificed by Odin, Vili, and Ve, which are the three selves. You can say Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. He is sacrificed and torn to pieces. His hair becomes his skull cap becomes the sky. His hair becomes the forest. His bones become the mountains. His blood becomes the ocean. And so by him being sacrificed, the world is created. So you clearly have the same being, but over tens of thousands of years, the symbolism has changed significantly. So on the surface, you can't tell. When you look at it, it's the very same thing. This one is really clear. The god of lightning and thunder is Indra. Indra comes from three words. In, full, thu, drop of nectar, and Ra, king. In, thu, Ra. And then you have, in the Germanic, you have Thunar, which comes from two words, thu, again, drop of nectar, drop of rain, and nar, which means Lord or first cause. You have nar in the beginning of the name of the god Narayana, same root, nar, first cause. It's the same language. It's the same religion, separated by tens of thousands of years. So does that answer your question? Are they similar? They are the same tradition, just separated by thousands of years. Rohan Kapoor, you are invited to watch more of my videos. You're invited to read my books. I have whole books about it, where I talk about not Mounting Sleipnir, but I don't know, one of my other Sleipnir books. Sorry, I just did a shamanic journey, so I don't have my whole faculties with me. You can read that book, and you can read how the Vedic and the Norse are the same tradition, separated by thousands of years. The spellings for the cow you named, you're looking at it, Audhumla. What is the wealth cow in the Sanskrit? I can't remember it offhand. Somebody will remind me. Coming dicks. I'm not laughing at you because I think you're a genius. I just, why would you have that be your name? Why would you have that be associated with your energy? Question, what's a basic energy practice to start? All right, so have you been on my channel? I've seen your name before. Have you been on my channel? Have you put the time and effort to look on my channel? Go look on my playlists. I have Qigong playlists, Qigong. Again, the way to get anything out of my channel is to put the time and effort into watching. I have books. I have teachings. So you've been watching my channel this long and you don't know what a basic energy practice is? I take that personally. Do you have any idea how much time and effort I put into all these videos? That you don't even have the wherewithal to go look on my channel to see if I have energy practices? You have to ask me. It only comes to your mind now? Sorry for giving you such a hard time, but seriously, to get the most out of this channel, you got to put the time and effort into it. So, to answer your question, go on to the playlists and just look at all the Qigong. You can do the breath that I gave in the beginning of this. I gave you an energy breath. You can do that. So you just want to start, that's where you would start. Energy starts with the breath, all right? So I won't give you too much of a hard time, but there you go. Robert Seaman, that's not a question. Thank you. I'm really interested. Awakening Sleipnir. Yeah, that's what it is. Awakening Sleipnir. Rohan Kapoor. Go read my book, Awakening Sleipnir. I've also read it. You can go and I've read it on. I've read it on live, so you can go. You don't even have to buy the book. I read it for you. So you can go there and look at that, and I go into a lot of the gods. I go into the connection between Odin and Shiva, the connection between Freja and Priya, the Priya and Frigga. Sorry, Freja and Prajapati. Many of the gods and their connections. I talk about that. Indra and Thunar, obviously. Brahma and Buri. They're all the same gods. They're the same gods. There's some differences, obviously, but the root gods are the same. Let's see here. What else? All right. I don't see any other questions. So, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and say bye-bye. Once again, before I go, let me be... here's a question. Is there a connection to Odin and Orion? No. The only thing similar about Odin and Orion is that the starting letters. But bear in mind that Odin is not his original name. That is the Norse dialect pronunciation. His name is actually Woden, not Odin. Woden comes from two words, wod, which means ecstasy, and en, which means made of. We use the word en all the time. I have a golden ticket, a ticket made of gold. I knocked on a wooden door. It's a door made of wood. So Woden is made of wod, which is ecstasy. Orion is a completely different word. I have one more. Rohan Kapoor, you have one more what? Question? Are you writing me a question? I'm not seeing it. So, here it is. Nope, that's it. All right, so before I go, again, thunderwizard.com. This is how you support this channel. You want me to do more of this stuff? I need you to support the channel. You go on there and you subscribe at whatever level you want. And now Patreon has created this really cool thing where you can subscribe for a year. When you do, I will give you 2 months free just for supporting the channel. So go there. And of course, the lockdown package, go check that out. That's $2,000 worth of stuff that I'm selling for almost nothing. That's not going to last much longer. So get it while it's still there. Courses.thunderwizard.com, all of my books. Subscribe and hit the bell button. You'll achieve enlightenment. Let's see. Brandon Little, question. Is a shamanic journey for the 9 realms, which area would be considered the heart? Think about it. Stop. Breathe. Think about it. And what do you think? If we look at the thunder wheel, where we see all of the 9 worlds, why don't you tell me where you think the heart is? It's pretty self-explanatory. You figured it out? The middle. That's where you are. You're asking that question like you want to take a journey to the heart. Remember, I can always tell what, most of the time the reason for your question. You want to take a journey to your heart. We just did that. And in each one of these, you will journey to your heart. Your heart is where your soul resides. So it makes me want to ask the question, why do you want to travel to your heart? I can better help you. Short answer to your question is you're already there. You live in it. You live in Middle Earth. Okay? Rohan Kapoor question. I want to know the origin of astrology and zodiac. Is it European or Indian? Neither. So, Rohan Kapoor, you're new to my channel? Go watch my videos about astrology. Go watch my videos about the difference between Vedic and Western astrology. So the short answer is that in what is now Afghanistan, there was a society that no longer exists. It was swallowed up in the Islamic conquest, and their religion and their culture is completely gone. But they were a city-state, and they worshipped the planets. And so where we get the 12 houses, the 12 signs, the 9 visible planets, and all of their meanings, and the zodiac, that zodiac we get from them. So 2,000 years ago, wise men from India and wise men from Greece both traveled to this city-state to learn their science of astrology. What the Greeks brought back is what we call Western astrology, which is unfortunately inaccurate. It's off by 24 degrees because they use the tropical zodiac, which is an inaccurate calculation of the zodiac. The Vedics got it right. They use the sidereal zodiac, which is the actual, the sky shining down upon you. Now, the Vedics have had an existing astrology, and that is reflected in the nakshatras. So the nakshatras are the existing astrology that the Vedics had. They went to this other, I forget the name of these people, live in Bactria somewhere, and they learned their style of astrology, brought it back, and they put the Bactrian 12-house astrology on top of their nakshatras. So that's why you don't have nakshatras in Western astrology, but in Vedic astrology you can talk about, what is the sign placement and the house placement and all of that, and then you'll go underneath it and you'll go, what nakshatra is it in? And you'll get an even deeper connection. So that's the difference there, and that's where it came from. Is that it? All right, so Rohan, second visit, welcome. To everybody watching this, the best way to get information from my channel is to really put the time and effort to watch. If you don't know how to search within a channel, and be honest if you don't, I've said that to people, why don't you search within the channel? I did, and they had no idea, obviously because they couldn't find it. So every device has a different way of doing it. On my laptop right here, if I go to YouTube and I type in thunderwizard.com, right? Just so that I'm finding my channel. When I type that in, there's my channel, and I click on that, and then up comes the thunderwizard.com YouTube page, and then there's a menu: home, videos, playlists, community, channels, about, and then next to about is a magnifying glass. If I click on that magnifying glass, up will come another search engine. Type in astrology, whatever your questions are, energy work, Vedic. You can type in whatever search term you want. If you don't know how to do that, go and look at my playlists. I have a lot of playlists as well. Seriously, people, put the time and effort to learn. I've been building this channel for years. There's how many videos on here? It's great. I mean, I love doing the live streams, but I want you to be able to find things for yourself. It's going to be different on different, obviously, but figure out how to do that. And not just my channel, any channel. You want to find out what's on any channel? Learn how to search within the channel. All right, that's it. I don't see any more questions. So I'm done for the day, and I will see you guys all very soon. Go and subscribe at thunderwizard.com, and support the channel. All right, I'll talk to you guys. Okay, one last question here. Daniel Cardenas, question: are we contracted through astrology in our lives? What does that mean? Are you contracted? I don't know what that means. Daniel, I invite you to watch my videos about astrology. Go do what I just said, and type in astrology and look on the playlists, and spend some time. I'm sure I answer whatever it is the question you're trying to ask that I don't understand based on that verbiage. Okay, that's it for me. I'll see you guys later.